everyone. Today my group will be interviewing a Chinese Malaysian to talk about her understanding about the history of Malaysian literature in English. Her name is Valerie Chen, and here is a video. May I know your name first?
I'm Valerie.
Valerie, okay. Hello, Valerie. Today I'm gonna ask you some questions about Malaysian literature in English. Okay. The first, can you share a bit about your background and how you got interested in Malaysian literature in general?
My background, I'm actually a Chinese. I'm Malaysian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, of course, I've been here since I was born. Okay, I'm from Ipoh itself. Okay, the northern part of Malaysia.
Yes.
How am I interested in that? Because it's part of our studies when we were in school.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually is understanding our roots, where we came from.
Okay. So, were there any Malaysian authors or books you liked when you were younger?
Yeah, I do have one which is about Hang Jebat. Okay, Hang Tua, the one we actually do study because it's like Shakespeare in UK.
It's like a Malaysian general, right?
Yes,
Soldier. Yeah. Okay. So, second question: did you grow up reading Malaysian literature in English? Was it part of your school syllabus or something you found on your own?
Oh, it's actually part of our syllabus at that point in time. Yeah, it was actually in Bahasa, not in English. Yeah.
How was Malaysian literature English viewed in schools or in the community when you were growing up?
How would we view it?
Yeah.
It's just like a reading and like a storybook.
Okay. Let me go to the next section. When you think of Malaysian literature from the colonial days, how did writers talk about life back then?
Talk about very casually about how very basic when they were there compared to nowadays. Now it's already a developed country. Those days were colonial time where we actually, Malaysia, how it was formed. Actually, the Indians from India came, the China came here, the British came here. So those are the time we were talking about how the community in Malaysia actually merged together with so many races and culture.
Were there any topics or themes that were commonly discussed?
None that I can remember of. There were so many in nature fact. Yeah, not one in particular.
Okay, let's just go to the next question. Do you feel like British or Western ideas influenced Malaysian writers in the colonial period?
Maybe a bit, yeah, maybe a bit more.
Okay. And so, how did these influences do you think will affect the way Malaysian Maya or identity was portrayed? Like the Western. Yeah, Western.
The Western.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually develop more on Western. We speak more English. Here in Malaysia, you see that actually a lot of people during our time actually do speak a lot of English. And we actually feel that we are Commonwealth country. We are actually from Commonwealth because British actually colonized us for a period of time. So we do have, we are actually quite influenced by them, the Western ways, yeah.
How do you think Malaysian literature in English changed after Merdeka? Was there anything different?
Oh, definitely, because after Merdeka, after Independence Day, a lot of the literature that is from British no longer comes in so much. Now we have our own syllabus. Actually, literature are most learned during school days. Yeah, it's primary or secondary. Now no more, not so much.
Did you notice a shift in the themes or the stories in the books that were published?
No longer about books. Now we're all e-books, so we actually on the internet. Yeah.
And what role do you think literature played in building a sense of Malaysian identity after independence?
Not much actually. Now more on bloggers who are people who speak about it. You know, for example, politicians who speak about it, writers or influencers or people who are like, for example, my other's daughter or even like Putra. When they speak, people actually see them from the point of view, and because it's so accessible for the last maybe 10 years, everybody's accessible to a mobile phone.
Yeah.
So YouTubers can actually, they are top influencers now.
And let's talk about Malaysian literature today. How would you describe Malaysian literature in English today? Do you think it reflects modern Malaysian life and culture?
No,
Not really.
no,
Okay.
no.
What makes it different from the literature in the past?
In the past, actually, I don't really know why, in a sense, because literature then was very British. British. We actually took up a lot of British books right then. Okay, so it's about the colonization in from Britain. Now we don't really have that in Malaysia. It's not in our syllabus.
Yeah.
So after school, definitely there's nothing much to talk about literature.
Okay. So next, are there any Malaysian writers or books today that you feel capture the Malaysian experience? Why do you like them?
None.
Not okay. So this, what issues or themes do these writers explore that you think are relevant to Malaysia now? As if, because you say you haven't read, or what do you think will be expecting them to write like that? Violations today in the literature.
About Malaysians?
Yes, yes.
About Malaysians, I think because it's so multicultural, maybe it's about Malaysian mixed culture. There's now Malaysian, as in there's no Malay by Malay or Chinese by Chinese. There's so many mixed marriages already. And we have so many foreigners here in Malaysia.
Yes. Yeah. Do you think Malaysian literature in English is more popular or recognized today than in the past?
No, actually it was in the past.
Was
No.
in the past?
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so can we do the next question? How has Malaysian literature in English shaped your views on Malaysian culture, history, or identity?
Wow. Yes.
Like, are there any books or authors that made you feel that way?
No.
About culture? No. Okay. So just this one. Uh, why do you think it's important for the younger generation to read Malaysian literature in English and read some novels about the history of Malaysia?
At least they know where their roots are. Know how their grandfather, grandmothers, their descendants came when how Malaysia was initiated before Merdeka, how we got our independence.
Do you think that reading these kind of books will help them preserve the Malaysian values or culture?
Yeah, definitely in some ways, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
If you could recommend one piece of Malaysian literature in English to a younger generation, what would be and why in books?
I don't remember any.
Okay. Okay, if you had read these books, maybe you guess like what these kind of books will make it special to let them know they are as a Malaysian identity.
Is there any book that?
Yeah,
that
any
is-
book.
No, can't remember them. Any.
Okay, then last question. Is there anything else you would like to share about Malaysian literature in English or about how it has changed over the past?
Over the past, like it's no. Because actually literature is during in school was February. So
Yeah.
it's more on memorizing and all. So but I was sure there were actually a lot of Malay literatures, but quite difficult to understand because they had very in-depth language compared to you're talking about English, right? But during our time, it's actually more in Malay rather than in English. So if it's English, it's from UK, it's from the British side. Whereas Malay is our local Malay. And a bit mixed on to like Indonesian because actually the Malaysian culture was actually, Malay culture was actually brought in from Indonesia.
So, like for younger generation, for example, for your kids,
Mm.
what kind of, literature would you encourage them to read? Is it like a Malaysian literature, English, or just the English books from UK, other English-speaking countries?
That depends on the kids.
Mm.
If the kids are actually from international schools, they would have read both sides. If it's Malaysian culture, they would actually government schools, they would actually read local literatures. But after school, I don't think anyone would read literatures.
Yes, because we have really e-books today.
Yeah. There's no more because literature is quite abstract. Abstract and there's very floral one you have to read between the lines and this is what it means actually it doesn't mean what it means. So there's so many other things but kids are more visual as if they like videos, they like stuff that's in the YouTube, the trendy stuff.
Yeah.
I think locals as of now I don't think kids will actually like literature unless they bring it into a drama. They bring it into like show or a musical. I think that would be fantastic.
Okay, thanks for
Okay.
review. Yeah. Okay. So